bathing, eating. And then what about the daytime? You've already cut your life in half, your lifespan. What about the daytime? You're working hard, you're studying, or you're studying and working hard. Where is your time going? And then you can reduce, this is what Prahlad explains in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the graduate study to Bhagavad Gita. He explains that the front end of your life is wasted because you're a little kid, right? You're silly, foolish, you don't do anything. Maybe you're a fortunate young man like this one here. He comes and he listens. But generally when you're a little kid, you just want to play, right? So that means 10 years, including your sleeping time, is wasted. You know, between the age of 1 and 10. You're so foolish, right? And then you become a teenager. The hormones are changing, they're driving you crazy. Teenagers know nothing, but they think they know everything. Remember? So basically the first 20 years of your life are useless. Then you enter into your 20s and you're studying, you're trying to get employment, you're trying to pass the English test, right? That takes up so much time. And then once you finally finish your studies, get a job, pass the English test, get PR, and then what? Time for marriage. Your parents start putting the pressure on you, right? And then, once you marry, the pressure is on you for children. So in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and even into your 60s, you're so busy with material affairs, right? Then you say, okay, when you're old and broken down, that's the time for spiritual life, yes? But by that time, you're so exhausted, your body and mind are so fatigued, you can't focus on your spiritual development. I often tell the example of one elderly lady I met in Japan. And she was telling me about her life. She was somehow there met devotees, even though she's in her 60s. She's doing some chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, and she's reading Bhagavad Gita. But she said, you know, when I was young, I worked so hard, studying, getting a job, and then getting married, and then having children, and then having to take care of the children and work. And then I thought there'll be relief when the children grow up. And what happens? Grandchildren. She said, now I'm in my 60s, and I want to focus on spiritual development. I want to read Bhagavad Gita, but every time I turn the pages of Bhagavad Gita, because I'm so exhausted, I just fall asleep. And she began to cry. Her life energies are gone. So what can you learn from this for your life? If you take Prahlad's advice very seriously, you can be spared from wasting your life. And that is the greatest disaster, a wasted human life. So Prahlad is not against family life, he's not against business, he's not against working, but he's pointing out what is the central focus. Our problems are because of disconnection with Krishna. The more we understand that that is our main problem, the more we can actually get a grip on our life and steer it in the right direction. Do you know where Bhagavad Gita actually begins? It begins with Arjuna's bewilderment. The first chapter of Bhagavad Gita can be known as the yoga of despair. Arjuna sees that none of his options are inviting. Whatever road he looks that's open for him, that road looks very bleak. He tells Krishna, I don't see how any good can come from my fighting in this battle of Kurukshetra. How many of you have been to Kurukshetra? Raise your hand. Still there. It's not mythology. Oh, Krishna, I don't see how any good can come from this fighting. And Arjuna actually has a nervous breakdown. But he turns to Krishna for instruction. He tells Krishna, I'm bewildered about my duty. I don't know what's good for me. You please instruct me. And that's when Bhagavad Gita begins. Bhagavad Gita begins when and where material intelligence breaks down. So when you read Bhagavad Gita, a genuine Bhagavad Gita, as it is, you're getting something beyond the failures of human intelligence. So what you're seeing in the world today is a massive failure of human intelligence. You're seeing the results. Fear of this, fear of that. Climate disruption, nuclear warfare, artificial intelligence. On and on and on it goes. Worry, worry, worry. And amidst all this confusion and mayhem, you're supposed to try and have a peaceful life, raising your children. For what reason? For what purpose? You don't know. It's just what everyone does. So you can't blame Prahlad, 5-year-old Prahlad, for shaking things up, right? You can't blame him. He's doing his little friends the greatest favor. So he goes on to explain that you shouldn't waste your whole life focused on economic expansion. He didn't say don't support your family. He said that economic expansion should not be the central focus. Your central focus should be how to please Krishna, how to engage in Krishna's service. Prahlad would criticize society as we have today, where everyone has as their foremost concern, money, 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 how to make more money. And how to use the money for giving pleasure to my body and mind. Prahlad rejects that kind of so-called civilization. So remember, you actually have very little time in your life. None of you here, except for a few, are children. So you've already spent your childhood wasted because you didn't as a little kid, you didn't know what to do. You've already been teenagers.